Call the meeting to order. Can I have a mover and a seconder to open the meeting? Councilor Framboise, Councilor Pelletier.
Moved by Councilor Laframboise and seconded by Councilor Pelletier. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby opens the regular meeting of Council at 6 p.m. on June 18, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Atikameksheng Anishinaabe. We also wish to recognize our neighboring community of Tokees First Nation. While we meet today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous people and their culture. Can I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Councilor Loftus, Councilor Jones.
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Johnson. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of Council held June 18, 2025 be adopted as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, Councilor.
None, your worship.
Okay, Councilor Loftus.
None, your worship.
Councilor Pelletier.
None, your worship.
Councilor Jones.
None, your worship.
And none for myself. Any announcements or from council?
None for myself.
No? Okay. Mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes from June 4th. Councilor Lachance, Councilor Pelletier.
Moved by Councilor Lachance and seconded by Councilor Pelletier. Be it resolved that the minutes of the following meetings of Council be adopted as presented. Committee of the Whole, June 4, 2025.
Any modifications from anybody? No? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a mover and a seconder to receive correspondence? Councilor Loftus, Councilor Laframboise.
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Laframboise. Be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles receives the following correspondence for information. Number 1, letter from the Sudbury East Family Service Provider Network dated May 14, 2025 regarding a request for waiver of all rental fees for SEF SPN Family Fun Day. Number 2, letter from the Minister of the Solicitor General dated May 21, 2025 regarding Ontario Provincial Policing (OPP) Cost Recovery Model Review and June 2025 webinars. Number 3, a letter from the Ministry of Emergency Preparedness and Response dated May 22, 2025. Number 4, a letter from the Ministry of Natural Resources dated May 27, 2025 regarding reintroduction of the Geologic Carbon Storage Act. Number 5, copy of a letter from Petrolia dated May 29, 2025 regarding Town of Petrolia Council support of opposition to strong mayor powers. Number 6, copy of a letter from Petrolia dated May 29, 2025 regarding Town of Petrolia Council support of opposition to strong mayor powers. Number 7, copy of a letter from Windsor dated May 29, 2025. Number 8, email from Perry Sound dated May 30, 2025 regarding supporting municipal ethics through access and education. Number 9, copy of a letter from Stouffville dated May 30, 2025 regarding Town of Whitchurch Stouffville Council Resolution of May 7, 2025, correspondence from York Region, provincial funding shortfall of human and health programs and services. Number 10, email from Peterborough dated June 2, 2025 regarding Resolution Bill 6, Safer Municipalities Act 2025. Number 11, letter from Strasbourg Caradoc dated June 2, 2025 regarding in support of Bill 5, risks to your communities and support requested. Number 12, letter from Ministry of Sport dated June 3, 2025 regarding Community Sport and Recreation Infrastructure Fund application number 2024-10-1-301-0645730. Number 13, copy of a letter from Norfolk dated June 4, 2025 regarding opposition to strong mayor powers. Number 14, copy of a letter from North Grenville dated June 4, 2025 regarding Bill 5, Protecting Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025. Number 15, copy of a letter from Pickering dated June 4, 2025 regarding Raising Ontario Works, bracket OW, and Ontario Disability Support Program, bracket ODSP. Number 16, copy of a letter from Whitewater dated June 4, 2025 regarding proposed amendments to OREG 530/22 to expand strong mayor powers and duties to additional municipalities. Number 17, copy of a letter from Blue Water dated June 6, 2025. Number 18, copy of a letter from Blue Water dated June 6, 2025. Number 19, copy of a letter from Brunel, Lindop, and Ragland dated June 6, 2025 regarding opposition to strong mayor powers. Number 20, letter from Ontario Provincial Police dated June 6, 2025 regarding 2026 municipal policing billing statement property cap. Number 21, copy of a letter from Woodstock dated June 6, 2025 regarding Bill 5, Protecting Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025. Number 22, copy of a letter from Sudbury East Planning Board dated June 9, 2025 regarding consent application SEPB file number B/19/25/SC. Number 23, copy of a letter from Black River Matheson dated June 10, 2025 regarding request for exemption to proposed mandatory firefighter certification requirements, bracket OREG 343/22. Number 24, letter from St. Charles Parish dated June 10th, 2025 regarding municipal regulations, outdoor events. Number 25, copy of a letter from LaSalle dated June 11, 2025 regarding Bill 5, Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025. Number 26, email from McGarry dated June 11th, 2025 regarding Standing for Canada. And number 27, email from Georgian Bay dated June 11th, 2025 regarding Township of Georgian Bay resolution floating accommodation.
Thank you very much. Hopefully that's the last time. No, for a couple more. Before we move on, I just wanted to make sure everybody had had a chance to read the letter from item number 1. That's a waiver of hall rental fees. Did everybody get a chance to, that one was sent just this morning? Just to make sure, I'll just read that one letter since it wasn't in the package. And I don't know if other people do like me, they just go right to the letters and I didn't go tick off. So I only found out like about half an hour ago that this was here. So it's from Nathalie Singer and Nathalie Lorette. On behalf of the Sudbury East Family Service Providers Network, we are writing to respectfully request the use of St. Charles Community Center at no cost for our upcoming event, Family Fun Day, scheduled for June 7th, 2025. This letter evidently was supposed to be read prior at the last meeting, but just missed the deadline. This event is being organized to provide the community with more information about the service providers that serve the Sudbury East community. We will be offering and sharing a wide range of local services, including child development, screening, car seat safety information, speech and language support, child care subsidies, detail, and much more. We believe it will have a positive impact on our community to bring people together and sharing information that families may need or not know about. During this event, we will also be offering a free lunch, free fun activities, and free giveaways. As a service provider network, we operate with limited resources and would like to concentrate our funds towards activities and giveaways for families during the event and the future events. A waiver of the hall rental fee would greatly assist us in delivering a success and meaningful event. We would also like to extend a warm invitation to all members of the Municipal Council, and then it moves on to say thank you very much. So I asked just before the meeting, since it's not a report, can we give direction whether or not we feel we want to offer, they're asking for at no rate, or we want to offer an additional reduced rate, or it's the regular fee. So if that could be included as long, with any other directions for the correspondence. Councillor Lafrance-Boise?
Since it was, everything was a donation, and it was more like a, where do you see that?
They called it a family fund.
Yes, yeah, so I honestly, it's too bad I didn't hear about this prior, maybe I would've went for a little visit, but, I don't have a problem waivering it because of the circumstances.
Okay. Any directions for the rest of the correspondence?
Number, I guess 24, I guess we'd have to respond to that letter, right, St. Charles Parish?
Yeah, so I regularly, yearly will, prepare a letter in response that we don't typically have any issues with that, so if that's the direction of council, I can present that letter again.
And that's everything for myself.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Loftus?
Yeah, I'm in agreement also for, free rental day for that. I wish I would've, I don't think they advertised it.
You know,
Because if they would've advertised it, I think they would've got, I don't even know how their turnout is. But maybe in the future, we could respond to them that we will grant it this year, but in the future, we'd like to be advised earlier of when this event takes place, so that maybe council or we can put the word out for families to attend.
I think it was the first, I'm speaking maybe out of turn because I'm not sure of this, but I think from what I've heard, it might have been the first time that they do the family fun day where they, for the turnout, it was mainly the younger kid, the
Yes.
families with younger kids.
Yes.
And it wasn't heavily attended, but it was well attended.
Is that like through OCOP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, I agree. And also, I have no issues with the outdoor event.
Okay. Councilor Pate?
Yeah, I'm in support of that. It was actually the same day as the annual, yard sale. Well, the annual yard sale, day as well, right? So,
Yeah.
we actually heard about it through, everybody walking around doing yard sale that, hey, there's an event going on in the community center. So, my wife and kids did end up going, and it was well received, and it was well organized, and, they had fun at the event, so, either way, I'm in support of it, as it was mentioned, but, it was, OCOP was there as well, so I'm in favor of, you know,
Waiving?
drafting, I'm assuming we need a resolution,
That will
on
be, the resolution would come next.
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, so I'm in support of that, as well as, responding to, letter item 24, which was already discussed, but also thanking them for, reaching out, you know, regularly.
Thank you. Councilor Deschamps?
Yeah, my only comment to, the first item on the correspondence was that, I heard there's a lot of, the people that did attend were mostly not from our municipality. There's people from neighboring municipalities that attended. And if they had time to reach out and advertise in those municipalities about the fun day, it's kind of a shame that it wasn't advertised here. So that kind of, that's again, not just for myself, but,
Yeah, it's the advertising, I
was
think it
held
was your
here.
first.
Our taxpayers are gonna be eating the cost for the rental, and it wasn't advertised here, but it was advertised in neighboring municipalities, because that's who showed up, so kind of a little bit of a thorn on my side, but, I guess, in the future, make sure that you're advertising where you're planning on hosting it and where you're planning to, use, again, look for freebies.
Any other, items you would like to have?
No, it's all of this.
Okay. Therefore, all those in favor? Carried. Next, and I have a mover and a seconder for cash disbursements. Councilor Potier, Councilor Loftus.
Moved by Councilor Petsy and seconded by Councilor Loftus, be it resolved that the cash disbursement register for the month of May 2025 be received in the amount of $453,868.85.
Any questions?
None for myself.
None for myself.
Councilor Potier?
No, not myself.
Councilor Deschamps? All right, all those in favor? Carried. Next, this is a resolution from June 4th regarding cost of classroom rentals. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Deschamps and Councilor Loftus.
Moved by Councilor Lachance and seconded by Councilor Loftus, be it resolved. The Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles sets the daily rental rate of $25 plus cleaning if required, plus applicable taxes per classroom. And be it further resolved that a 10% discount be given to qualified organizations. And be it further resolved that renters must remove or store all personal items after each use.
All those in favor? Carried. Can I have a mover and a seconder for a resolution also from June 4th regarding human resource support? And here the item first we would have to fill out is the ceiling amount. What is that, what is it?
So there-
Upset limit.
Yeah,
is
so
the word
there's
I was
been
looking
blanks for the upset limit as well as for the two members.
As well as, oh yeah, as well as the members. So, upset limit, I heard, I wasn't here, but I heard there was a few variations and, so what is the upset limit?
I think the last time the up to was 11,000 that was brought forward from Councillor Lachance. He had did some phone calls and got some information, and that's what he came up with.
Okay, and you're ready to support the 11,000?
I think I'm better off to put it higher than to have to come back and request some more, so. If he took the time and looked into it, I don't have a problem agreeing with that.
Okay. Councillor Loftus?
Well, I don't agree, $11,000 is a lot of money, but I mean, if that's what everybody's voting for, then I will accept it.
Councillor Patsy?
Yeah, no concerns there. It's I think what'll come out of it is hopefully a resolution to any questions that we have and any concerns that there might be regarding, some of, I guess, discrepancies that are being found. So hopefully shed some light on that and clean everything up.
Okay, and Councillor Lachance?
I think the words up to are very important. When we're including that, it doesn't guarantee we're spending $11,000. That would be,
The upset
from the conversation I had with the one firm that's kind of, where they see the worst case scenario going would be that cost. That's if there's a lot of indecisive decisions made by the appointed committee, ask a question on this and then go back and not make educated decisions pretty much, or not know what they're asking, so it's just, yeah.
Okay, so therefore the upset limit has been determined to be 11,000. Now now we need to have two members for the ad hoc committee. Do we have volunteers to stand for the ad hoc committee? Like keeping in, I know it might be during work hours, like because we will be dealing with lawyers and I don't think we want to pay weekend rates if they have that. But anybody willing?
I'm willing to it.
Okay.
I'd be willing, I know there's maybe a council member a little more, I should say, specialized in that kind of, those kind of things, but I know my schedules can be a little bit more flexible possibly in that, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'd leave it up to, I believe Councilor Schultz would be the other who would be.
Not for me.
Not for you.
Yeah.
Councillor Chance?
To me, it doesn't, like, my schedule isn't as flexible, and if there were any questions that, people on the committee would have, I'd be more than happy to help out if I could. But I don't feel like I have to sit on the committee, I think at the point we're at, it doesn't matter what's possible. It'll be advanced regardless, so.
All right. And like I can always be attending as a,
Officio.
ex officiado? Is that how you?
Ex officio.
There we go, thank you.
Unless you want to be a standing member, or
Yeah.
unless you want to be or not standing, but like, yeah, unless you want to be a voting member. Yeah.
I can be present whether or not, it's just, if somebody says, oh, this is gonna be very, very difficult, I will stand in, but if you two are ready to take it on,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it's good,
Councillor Lachance, no?
No, like I said,
You
to me,
put a lot of time in this, too, so.
but I can pass all that on to you guys and my contacts and stuff, where I already spoke with, that's not a concern, I think,
Okay. Therefore, Councillor Poitier and Councillor Laframboise. Oh, can I move into a seconder now to, for the resolution? Councillor Poitier, Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Poitier and seconded by Councillor Lachance, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles agrees to create an ad hoc committee under the name of, quote, Council Committee on Human Resources Legal Inquiry, end quote. And be it further resolved that the council agrees to adopt the attached terms of reference in relation to this ad hoc committee. Be it further resolved, the council approves an upset limit of $11,000 for the purpose of retaining either a human resources specialist or lawyer to review employment agreements and policies. And be it further resolved that the following members are appointed to the ad hoc committee, Judy Laframboise and Matthew Poitier.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, item 8.2.1, report to council draft procedure bylaw.
So unfortunately, I made an error and forgot to attach the revision, so as it deals with the procedure bylaw, it cannot proceed. So it will have to be moved to the July meeting. My error, sorry.
All right. We don't have to, it's just, okay. Next, the report to council, draft flag policy, prepared by Denny.
Yes, Your Worship. From last council, we had a discussion on a request to fly a flag. And we saw that just that little change in policy created some concern or response from the community. So having a proper policy in place, whether we consider a special purpose flagpole or permanent flag and we don't fly any special event, I put together a sample policy with the assistance of other policies online. Again, it's up to council whether we want to consider a special flagpole, whether we cannot fly another flag with the Canadian flag. The Canadian flag should fly higher than the other flags. Unfortunately, our flagpoles are 30 feet, all three. If council wants to consider altering the policy and potentially flying below the municipal flag rather than removing the Franco-Ontarian flag, that one did cause some concern. However, there's no standing policy for any of those flags. It is we fly it because we're proud to be Canadian, we're proud to be from St. Charles, and it is a St. Charles is based in the Franco-Ontarian route, though the current population is changing. So it's up for council to review, comment, put forward. It's nothing urgent if we want to discuss it at a future date. Again, and I suggested that if you are flying special flags, and I just Googled what are the most common flags to fly. Again, the Pride flag was one of them. Truth and Reconciliation was a flag. One that was flown. The Autism flag. Every Child Matters. There's breast cancer, there's Remembrance Day. The Remembrance Day we fly, we just, and the last one we just did for the day, the 10 and 11, nobody really noticed that, but nobody would say anyone to that one, but we also took down the Franco-Ontarian flag at that day. But that was a one day, and that would not, no one would raise concern on that one, especially because that one is, and it was not extended to this one. Unfortunately, this one may be controversial in some matter. So anyways, it's for council's discussion.
Since one of the options in here is to have another flag, what would the fee for another flagpole be?
Okay, the flagpoles, we did get costing. So for the external, and I have it in my email here.
Just so we have the facts.
So right now, our flags, one of the issues is those flagpoles don't have lanyards. When they first put them up way back, there was the lanyards, and the kids were pulling, sorry, I should say, that there were some people pulling them down and taking the flag, so they removed their lanyards and they're permanently posted, so we have to tilt the pole. And unfortunately, we had a bit of an issue with employees not able to lift the pole, so staff in the office can't just pull down a cord and change the flag quite easily. So unlimited flags here, the quote I have, so there's two quotes, a 30-foot fiberglass pole tilt base, is $22.69, plus shipping, if I'm not, it's not quoted shipping right here, but it's plus shipping. And a 30-foot aluminum pole similar to what's at the cenotaph with the lanyards inside. You have to take a key so they can't play with the flag. Is $3,100, $3,095.99. So unfortunately, those are the flags. If you want to add a fourth and fifth pole, or even change these poles to make it super easy to go up and down, we're looking at roughly $3,100 plus shipping, which we didn't get a quote for shipping, but I'm assuming it's a couple $100.
All right, thank you. Councilor West.
It did, I did receive some phone calls, and it did cause a little bit of concerns to some people. I'm just wondering, I know we had spoke about maybe getting a flagpole at the, near the area we wanna, let me see that, near the splash pad, yeah. Like, I wonder if we should do the flags over there instead of having it here. I don't know, it was not positive, what I received. So,
So you're.
I'm not sure, like, I'm on the, it's gonna be costly, and
So eventually you'd like to see a fourth flagpole possibly at another
area to
Yeah.
celebrate all these
event?
events or flags.
Okay, in the
I think
meantime,
leave the municipality.
until such a pole is purchased and whatnot, if it comes up again, flying it under the municipal flag, that was an option also?
I think it's, you have to take the Franco Ontario flag, right? Like, you have no choice.
No, there was
To
option
put
of,
the other flag.
yeah, that is the pole theoretically that should be
Mhm.
used. But I think in there was an option to fly it below the municipal flag. Did you, was that
Yeah,
there?
there's not, the only protocol is the Canadian flag is the
Has to be-
Heritage Canada says it's improper. It doesn't, it's not illegal, you won't get the police, but it's improper, so we should respect the Canadian flag for what it stands for. But under the municipal flag, if, because I know some they take pride in the Franco-Ontarian, but under the municipal flag, if council wants to not cause any concern until we have a third flag, or this is the three flags we fly, and all other requests are politely turned down.
Yeah. Like to hear from everyone else, and see what
Okay,
they
no
think,
problem.
but that's what
Okay.
that's the concern that came up too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Councilor Loftus, your
Well, I
opinion?
know that the Franco-Ontarian flag, it's fine, but I mean, to take it down and put up another flag, to me, if people are gonna get upset with that over a couple of days or whatever, it's not right. I don't believe that we should be spending another $2,300 on another pole just to accommodate, like Franco Ontario, take it down. When you have the autism in April, you put it, you know what I mean? Like, if you, like November, Remembrance Day, we have the flag over there, we don't have to worry about that. October, breast cancer, are we gonna, if we're gonna fly a flag, I mean, it's just giving respect to all organizations instead of just one. To me, like, yes, Franco and Ontarian it's meaningful to a lot of people. Honestly, to me, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean nothing to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean, these other organizations like Earth Day and Every Child Matters, to fly a flag
You're just recognizing that.
Yeah, that day, like on September 30th, you're just putting it up and taking it down. And you can have the Franco-Ontarian flag the rest of the time. But I mean, for these dates, I think they're pretty important to other organizations, so to be fair to everybody, I have no problem in taking it down for a couple of days or whatever.
Thank you very much.
I think a couple things come out of this is, I think either we look at another poll, or we continue for, until another poll is decided on putting it under the municipal flag. I know it was discussed before that, we're not declared a francophone, municipality, but maybe that's something that we should be looking at, because we are, we're not over 50% francophone, but we are over 40%. Like, and the criteria for, that is 10%, or a population of 5,000, which we don't even have that much in the community, so we're way above the criteria for it. And as Councilor Garton stated, there's also grant opportunities for francophone communities as well. So I think, there's a couple things that come out of that. We should look at, keeping the francophone flag there, and as mentioned before, we could have flown the other flag beneath it, or as mentioned, we could fly community flags beneath the municipal flag. So that's my stance on that. The alternative is, I know it's been mentioned that the Canada flag should fly higher technically than the rest of the flags. So these are all 30-foot poles. If we were to get a 35 or 40-foot pole to replace one of these, and I don't know what the installation is for that, if Public Works can go and reinstall the other pole at the community center. That's one way of looking at it, but, and I know the concern is those have to be, you have to pull the pin and pull it down, but I don't know if there's really, if it's a difficult task installing like a lock box around where the rope would, like, I don't know if that's a very difficult thing to do or whatnot, but I think that's an option that can be looked at to simplify things. And I think the policy is good place to start. I think we'll need a lot of storage for flags going forward if we continue with this, but I know ENEV does hold on to some of those, I presume.
So right now in stock, we have the Autism flag, we have a Remembrance Day flag, and now we have the Pride flag. I'm not suggesting we go out and buy every single flag, but if somebody donates one,
Yeah.
that would be there. And again, it would have to be approved by council, because there's certain flags even I wouldn't recommend buying. Yeah, no, I'm not even suggesting that, because it's costing enough to replace the flags that we have.
So your recommendation is below the municipal flag?
I'd say keep it below the municipal flag, and as far as, that's it for this. Yeah.
Councilor Jones.
Yeah, it's one of those things voted that you're never gonna make everyone happy with anything you choose to do. I know the municipality, this school does fly the Franco-Ontario flag there. We're not recognized yet as Franco-Ontarian, so it's one of those things you can't really pick and choose, really. I know it's past practice, but past practice doesn't always mean it's the most correct, but at the same time, I like where Councilor Pelletier is going, that you're supposed to fly the Canadian flag higher. We almost do need to lower the other two flags, or get a new pole that's taller than the other one, so it's kind of a loaded question. I understand that having mechanisms on the outside would make it easier of a task for anyone to complete, not just certain people. The old mechanisms are probably all thrown out, the old cranks that used to be there when I was a kid.
So the ones at the Cenotaph, it's inside the pole?
Yeah, same as the one at the school.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm saying without looking at a new system, putting the old one in the concert, as I said, you use a spot you can lock on there, so they can.
You can add a lock to an eyeball.
Yeah. Yeah, there's ways to do it.
Simple.
I don't know if another flagpole is the answer, or obviously a lot of people noticed
Yeah.
noticed the flag change. I'm sure everyone got a lot of emails and phone calls, but, maybe it was because of the flag that was flown, I don't know. But there's also been other people saying, well, this June is supposed to be this month, not that month, and so if you have contradicting flags that can be flown in the same, for the same month or the same week, kinda makes it hard to, like, how do you pick and choose, like, how, you know, it's just, no matter what, you're stirring the pot for yourself, or not for yourself, but, you know, not everyone's gonna be happy.
Yeah, but with this policy, they'd receive equal time. If there's 2 flags on the same week, they'd receive equal time.
One pole with all the flags.
Yeah, I was given 3 of them
They get a totem pole with all the flags.
for June.
So which of the options do you select?
I think for now, until we look into it more, I think maybe flying it under the municipal flag probably makes the most cost-effective solution right now. And, going forward, I do think that maybe, like we were talking about like, at the, splash pad, you were mentioning, maybe putting a flagpole there.
Yeah, but that's not in the budget for this
Yeah.
year.
No,
A suggestion from Pam, at French River, put a flying standard in the entrance of their,
municipal.
They put a what? Okay.
the flag, just a flagpole inside the office, so that could be the alternate solution of flying it outside is flying it inside, but it's not as visible, the purpose of flying outside, but that's the option from the neighboring
Well, and
municipality.
we have our electronic advertisement, we could always fly a virtual flag on the, too, at the community center, right? We could, there's all kinds of little things you could do.
Because Unity had requested the same from them, and that's what they decided, to not take any of their current flags down, but they have a spot in the municipal office and anybody can come in and support there.
It's not a bad alternative, I guess, that and like say if you could throw kind of a flag widget on the board over, so it plays in between the advertisements or just, you know.
So your final word?
Yeah, I like that suggestion.
Okay, Councilor Framboise, do you have a decision made now of which option you'd prefer?
For now, like, we don't have money in the budget to expand, so I don't mind flying it with the municipal flag.
Municipal flag, okay, well, one more
It
time,
just-
you had said
I just find
exchange?
sorry,
Can I ask?
I just find also, like, when I received some phone calls and stuff, like, it was 3 different flags that were brought forward for June. So it needs to be clear that people need to bring it forward, like a letter or whatever, because we can't just, oh, we
No.
see this flag and all of a sudden that we want everyone else's flag on.
No.
I think that was the big thing. Like, it
Yeah, but I think
needs to
that's
be
the
brought
procedure.
forward, yeah.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have it. So below municipal flag, you had said
What
exchange.
about the francophone? You can't put another flag under it for a day or 2?
It could. The only one that
Does it have
specifically states cannot have another one would be the
Yes,
Canadian flag.
yeah, because, and even like you're talking about a pole at the splash pad, you're gonna have a pole sitting there with no flags on it because there's only certain flags that we will fly. So for the amount of flags that we are going to fly, like, I don't care, put it under the municipal one or whatever, but I don't agree in no more poles, like, we don't have the money for it.
Okay, one last time.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with under the municipal flag.
Okay.
I just had a question in terms of, cause I just realized that, I know you had written it in there in terms of, when you view the poles as you're coming in, the first pole being the municipal flag, should that be changed so that it's actually the federal, like Canada flag? I'm trying to remember which one, so the one all the way to the right now would be the municipal?
Yeah,
So there's a protocol,
and,
and I think it has to be centered.
Okay, as long as we're
But
following that,
I'll
yeah.
look it up, and as you're saying it now, I didn't look it up, but do remember reading the protocol where it says.
Okay.
Even the provincial territorial flag, I think, has to be on either left or right, but it is a
Okay.
protocol.
Yeah, I'm good with putting the community flag and the municipal flag, and maybe we just double check that we're in the right order. That was all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so therefore, we're not going with another poll. Did you have any last words, Councillor Deschamps?
No.
But consensus is to place it below one of the two flags, but the majority state below the municipal flag.
Do you want, so I'll amend this policy and bring it forward for a future adoption.
Correct.
Was there, just something to add in there, was it by request, was there a,
Yeah, I think it says that somewhere.
Yep, there's
At the bottom, requested flag,
Request,
special flags
yeah.
must be submitted in
Perfect.
writing.
All right?
Is that annually, like every year, every time once Mr. Flagpole, you have to ask for it, or is it something I was asked for this year, we repeat it, and make it a standing motion?
standing motion.
Is that, maybe put that in your
Okay.
policy?
Can I just clarify something? So if a organization wants you to fly a flag, then are they supplying the flag?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's no money there available.
okay.
Okay, so moving on then, item 831, report to council cemetery repair. Tammy.
So everybody sees the picture of the little issue I have at the cemetery where another monument has fallen over. So that section is over in the old section of the cemetery, right near the trees, the big trees. The ground has really swayed and shifted over the last few years, and if you see the other monument that's still standing on the left side of the picture, that one too is also almost slid off of its base. So because it's a ground issue, it's difficult to have the families look after this. The whole area needs to be brought up, re-leveled, everything needs to be reset. Unfortunately, I have in the past worked with our public works crew and Parks and Recs people to try to adjust some monuments and bases, but when they get this large, we're not equipped to pick them up, and we are risking then damaging them, which is gonna cost us a lot more money. So I'm just here requesting, I got 2 quotes. So obviously the quote from Sturgeon Etching comes in at $1,750 plus the HST. That also included some repair. He was quoting new bases for each one of those monuments. And I said, I'm pretty sure the bases are fine, so this number may be lower, because if their bases are good, he will use the bases that are there. But the quote did include new bases, so I'm just looking for some authority to get these repaired and take the money out of budgeted areas that I had in my cemetery budget.
Okay, any questions before we move to the resolution?
None for myself, I'm in
No.
agreement.
Okay, Councilor Patel?
both quotes were for added bases?
No, the Vesna was not new bases,
Oh, and the Sturgeon Etching was.
Sturgeon Etching was.
Nice. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm in agreement with the recommendation.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Mover and a seconder for the resolution. Councilor Potier and Councilor Loftus.
Moved by Councilor Pate and seconded by Councilor Loftus, be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles approves the amount of $1,750 plus HST for monument and ground repairs required at the cemetery. Be it further resolved that this amount be taken from the following cemetery budget line items: building repairs and maintenance, $1,000, accident costs, $500, material supplies, $500.
All those in favor? Carried. Next, we have a report, item, 832, report to council, municipal facility fee structure. Pamela.
Okay, so this was brought forward, at a previous meeting, but, some council members were not here, and the remaining council members felt that this was, a whole council decision. So we had a committee, Parks and Rec committee meeting on May 1st, to discuss the fee structure. We had recently revised it to have packages. We tried it out for a year, and the packages seemed to be a little cumbersome for the renters, so we're looking at revising the packages or getting rid of the packages. So sorry for the members that were here. I'm gonna regurgitate everything that I did last time. And if you're at the committee meeting, you're hearing it again. So there were some agreements that the committee had agreed on, so it's coming to council for approval also. So that when staff comes back with the revised policy or fee structure, it includes all this stuff. So the items that were agreed upon at committee level is that a 15% discount be given to qualified organizations for weekend facility rentals, and only weekend facility rentals. Currently, right now, qualified organizations get 10% on any rental. On weekend rentals, whether it be ball fields, arena, community center, they would get a 15% discount instead of the 10%. The table setup and takedown, we originally had 6 line items for different groups, up 10 tables, 20 tables, 30 tables for setup, and then 10, 20, 30 for takedown. And it just was a lot on the rental schedule. So combining it into one line item and charging $10 per table for setup and takedown. It equals the same amount because it was $50 to set up 10 tables and $50 to take down 10 tables. So it equaled $100. We would be charging $10, so 10 times 10 is $100, the same thing, but it's just one line item instead of 6. Remove the without cleaning from all packages. That was previously discussed at council meeting with relation to the family hockey tournament. So we decided to remove without cleaning. So we will no longer offering those packages. So it will just be the full clean package at the rate that was already provided. At the community center, and then I just want to clarify, this is for the weekend packages only. All the daily rentals and all of that are not forced to take the cleaning package. So this is just the weekend package only. Again, because we're getting rid of the cleaning package, we had a basic cleaning package, we had a premium cleaning package that you could add on to your weekend event. Since we're getting rid of that, this committee had decided to potentially make a private event package and a public event package. Private event package would be the $800 normal fee, and we would add that $275 clean package, so the new fee would be $1,075, and you didn't have an option of cleaning package, that would just be the package now. And then for a public event, it would be that $800 plus $550, so then you would be looking at $1,350 for the package. Again, weekend only. If you're doing the daily or hourly, there's no cleaning extras on that. For the community center, we had municipal staff attendant and additional staffing as 2 different line items. They want just combine them. It's kind of essentially the same thing, so we would just get rid of that to have less verbiage on the rental agreement. And then on the baseball field, for the weekend package, we had an additional fee that at the end of the night, we would go and clean up, pick up all garbage in the garbage cans and take them and put them in our big garbage bin. Again, it was just to pick up the garbage that was in the garbage can, not go around the whole yard and pick up the garbage. That's a responsibility of the event organizers. So, because again, we're trying to get rid of that without cleaning, and it showed poorly on us if the yard's a mess, and if somebody didn't take that package and we didn't pick up the garbage, it looks badly on us that they come in the next morning. So it's not an option. So we decided to include it, and then we just divided it amongst the ball fields. So it went from $175 to $194.50. So if council a whole agrees with those ones, we can adjust the fees and the verbiage according to that. At the committee level, we did have, there was some differing opinions on the following items. So before, we added an extra fee rental. So if you want to rent it on a Saturday, but you want to come in on Friday to decorate, There would be a small fee, it's $85. If you wanted to stay later and take down decorations, you would pay $85 so that you reserve that. So it was brought up that if it is not rented for another event, that those be offered for free. So there's differing opinions on that. One believes that we should still charge something, and one is if you don't have anything. And the example that I gave, a recent event that we had, they asked to come in on a Tuesday to set up. And we said, yes, you can, however, you're gonna have to pay $4 days at 85. They chose not to. So it could potentially become dramatic if people are like, oh, it hasn't been rented, give it to me for a whole week for free. So that's kind of why we put a small fee on there to kind of pay for that service. Multi-year schedule. So in a lot of bylaws, you'll see,
How about if we, first of all, go and vote on one at a time,
Yep.
as you explain it? So basically, can I just go back for all the ones that were previously agreed? I think, does anybody have any differing opinions, or everybody in agreement with the first 6?
I'm in agreement with the first 6. We just gotta make sure that whoever is renting future rents, that they're very aware of the changes.
Okay, the
When they-
upcoming rentals
yes,
that are,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
I'm okay with the 6, but the only thing is that baseball tournament, they need more garbage cans because I've seen them overfilled, and that's why people were throwing their garbage on the ground. So I don't know if we can scrounge up some more, especially where the stands were. I've seen them overflow and people were just throwing it and it was spilling over. So I'm just concerned with that. I just think that it would be probably, we'd have less garbage on the grounds. So do we have extra garbage cans that we could utilize that weekend, or?
I'm not aware of that.
I'm sure we could take either garbage cans, if we did already, I'm not sure.
I think it would benefit the grounds, it wouldn't be so dirty.
I think it's,
During the day, it'd be the responsibility of the organizers to empty the garbage during the day. This fee here is at the end of the day, when we go to rascal the fields and reset the lines, we go and reset all those garbage cans at that time. We're not going throughout the day, like Minister Scott is not going throughout the day and cleaning up the garbage.
So I'm just
on
wondering,
the
maybe just
responsibility of
a
them.
few extra garbage cans may help them.
Yep.
okay. The first 6 only?
Yeah, I just, the one that keeps coming up from people is always I've gotten comments on it since the agendas have been released, is always the tables. And I get it, it's been brought up before, also by staff, about concerns of, if somebody were to get hurt handling tables and also causing damage to tables or flooring, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I think the current practice is, all tables are put away all the time, at all times. I don't know if we go to a point of where we have like a base, I don't know what 10 tables, 9 tables is like a fairly standard configuration. I don't know if that's that's what you get. If you want more, it's this much. I don't know, cause that's always a point. It's we have people who might not be capable of handling the tables, but they don't want to be paying the fee, which I know it's not that extravagant, but it's already paying enough for an event. They don't want to be paying more for tables as well, just to. But I don't know, if there's always 9 tables out or something, that's probably a fairly minimum amount of tables that if they only need to handle 3 or 4, then it's not so bad. If somebody has, I don't know if I'm handling 3 or 4 tables, it's probably not gonna be so bad. If I gotta handle 20 of them, I'm gonna be pretty sore by the end of it, probably, so, I don't know.
I think they have to be raised for cleaning of the floor.
Yeah,
So then you're saying raise them, clean, then drop back.
well,
As a,
and
as a norm.
it does make it easier for cleaning, but the other issue with them always being put away by the organizers, you really hope that they clean them properly before putting them away. Because the next time, like I know I've been part of some of those events where we, like you're cleaning the tables before and after the event. Because, and I mean, it's not like you're gonna go through every table during the walkthrough or something, right? You're not gonna go through a table and, oh, this one's dirty, so, I don't know, get somebody here to clean that one table, like, it's one of those things, right? So, I don't know, I think the tables, I don't know how we would word that a little better to maybe have like a base, cause I know it's a bit more of a pain for whoever's cleaning, that they have to then move the tables, but they don't really have to lift them. I think they can, like, kind of put them to one side, clean.
Just also, something to consider is now that we have an inventory of rectangular tables and circular tables, certain events want the rectangular, certain events want the circular tables. So, that's the whole, if we leave 9 circular tables, and the event organizer says, no, I wanted the rectangles, are we causing them more work?
Have we had that? Where they want no round tables? Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming more of the, vendor type, events, but there's still usually tables in the middle there.
They normally have some tables in the middle.
Yeah, there's still usually, maybe not 9, but, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
don't know.
saying I'm not being
Yeah.
picky or anything, I just know we've got options now.
Cause, essentially, so we're saying $10 per table for setup and takedown?
Mhm.
Cause before it would've been, yeah, I don't know. I know having a base amount of tables, and, I mean, at the end of the day, we're saving ourselves the hassle of if somebody damages a table, or, like, they might still damage the table moving between the event, but it's the handling of it, right? If they get hurt, or they get slivers, or, well, maybe not sliver there, but they could get hurt in handling the table, right? And that would be on us at that point.
But we've
so.
and here we're already increasing the rate for, cleaning of public events.
Yes, yeah, exactly, but that is part of that is done in a way that we're also increasing the discount, right? So the weekend events are getting an increase, but they're also getting a bit more of a discount for qualifying organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not an increase, because if they would've got the clean package, it would've been the same anyways.
You're right.
So it's not really an increase, so you're getting a discount, and then if you're thinking about including tables, however many tables it is, based on the pricing that we did, the reason why we did all these packages was to lower the base price. So if you were gonna include table setup and table takedown, you might potentially have to increase your base price to include that. And that's why we kind of broke it out, so that if you didn't have the table service, why would you pay for it? Cause there are some people that might go in there and not want any tables. Like, I don't know, cause it
Yeah.
has been, cause I know the previous council had that, they wanted it set up. So when you came in to look at it, there was 20 tables set up, at all times, and it was, we moved it over, we moved it back, so that when people came in to look at it, and then we would configure it whatever way they wanted it, but then some people wanted 10, some people wanted, the dance floor clear and all the way around, some people wanted in the middle, so that's why this council had suggested ways to reduce it for whatever they want. So that is potentially something that you would suggest if you are gonna include it, the rate might increase, if council chooses. Because you're gonna now add labor
Yeah.
for our guys to set up and take down and wash the tables now, because that is a concern too.
And it would have to be set up as per the client's request.
Which is part of the rental agreement, when you say you want the table set up or take down, one of the next question is, how many tables do you want, what shape do you want, what setup do you want? Because if you say, no, you don't want the tables, then we don't ask that question, because you're responsible for setting it up yourself.
Also, before we go, what are our rates compared to, neighboring municipalities? I know
Well, French River doesn't have one, Alvin has one, I guess, sorry.
Alvin has one, Noelville has one above their arena, they have a hall. I have not compared hall, prices, I've only compared arena prices to neighboring municipalities, so that's something I could.
I've looked at, like Mark St. Warren, say, in Novel, we're a little bit on the higher end, but we're also have a higher end facility. Right, we don't have, I know in Lovell, the arena upstairs is kind of a little, it's not so nice. Marcia Warren is kind of nice upstairs, and they got the nice flooring and stuff, it's smaller, yeah.
Smaller than-
So, and that's where it's kind of comparing apples to oranges a bit, because it's not the same facility, but you also can't, it's hard to justify.
You don't wanna price out, I wouldn't wanna price out the people that are from the municipality and all of a sudden they say, oh my God, things are.
And that's, where we wanna.
Yeah, nobody can compare, like, that holds more people than any of the other ones in the area, I mean, there's no comparison. That's the Cadillac
Yeah.
in the sub-breeze.
We have a nice lot, that's for sure. Okay, so,
I think out of the 1 to 6, the only one I wanna, and look up a little bit more is item 2. So I don't know if we wanna just push that a little further down and
okay,
discuss it tomorrow.
Councilor Deschamps?
I'm okay with all 6 of them, just with, for me with the setup takedown, well, if people don't wanna pay for it and can't do it themselves, well, you're gonna have to pay for it, like, at the end of the day, like, it's one or the other, that's where I'm at.
Okay, so the consensus seems to be, there's a question on point 2, but the overall consensus is all the first 6 are approved as is. Okay, the first then options that were in contention, the first one was the extra free, extra day rental fee waived. Agreement or disagreement?
I'm more into, charge, because how far, like, what's the cutoff, like, you know, is it 2 days, 3 days, and try to rent somewhere in Sudbury, you get maybe 2 hours prior to the event to decorate. Like, you don't get 2-3 days to get organized. So I think it should be a small amount fee if they need extra days.
Small amount?
Like a fee, I think she mentioned $85 a day extra.
Okay, all right. Councilor Loftus?
I'm thinking the day before and the day after a big event. Like, I mean, we do have 2 big events. We have the hockey and we have the baseball. And I mean, a day before and a day after, nobody's renting the day before. Like, these are big events and they draw a lot of people. Because I know even with the hockey, they have to bring in their stuff the day before, they just can't. So I think for these big events that we do have, the day before and the day after, I don't have an issue with.
So like you're saying for like the weekend rentals, pretty
Yes,
much instead of
because
just
the
all
weekend,
facilities.
I'm
So
just saying.
Thursday and Monday?
So I'm just saying the weekend rental, the Friday and the Monday, give them free because they have to set up and, I mean, they're probably gonna book it on the
But
Thursday.
they start on the Friday probably, right? So are you talking about having it for Thursday? Because I know the baseball tournament is usually, the startup is Friday.
Yeah, so if they're renting from Friday to Sunday,
So it would be
then we
Thursday to
should
Monday.
be giving it to them Thursday to Monday. It gives them time to get everything out of there and clean up. I mean, that's, I would say, if it's a weekend, if it's a 3-day weekend rental or even a 2-day, give them the day before and the day after.
Did we have issues last year though, that they didn't have enough sufficient time?
It didn't have what? Enough?
Yeah.
There was a
Like baseball,
problem,
isn't it?
yeah.
On Sunday, they had to all be cleaned out by.
Yeah, that's
That's what it was, eh? Okay.
And if they wanna rent on Wednesday, then they'll have to pay that extra fee.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a creative solution to that, it was just, kind of the same direction as Councilor Loftus is saying. If you have a 3-day rental, like a weekend rental, you can have up to 3 days, so if you're like Friday to Sunday, you can have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But if you're a 1-day rental, like Saturday, then you get maybe Friday or Sunday. But it's not guaranteed, and you can't impede on other rentals if you're getting it free. The discussion was to keep the extra day fee there if you wanna guarantee your days, like in a sense, right? So, say, the family hockey tournament, say you have the whole rental for the weekend, but then somebody wants to rent the upstairs hall Thursday. well, then, oh, you can't decorate or do anything
Yeah.
before then, cause then you're gonna impede on that. But if you paid your extra day's rental, which is still a decreased fee, it's not the full, like, rental fee, so you could potentially lose out on rentals for that, which is the concern. But I think that could have already happened technically. Cause it could have happened, when the bowling banquet and the next day was the Mother's Day? Yeah, but nobody opted to get the extra day rental. So if either of them had gotten the extra day rental, the other would have been unable to rent, right? So that's where, that concern's already there, it's already, so.
But that's a one-night event, that's not a weekend, we're not talking.
But they can still get the extra days rent, they can still pay for it though, they could have still paid for it,
No.
even though it
Yes,
is the way
I
it
know.
is right now,
Yeah,
yeah.
So are we looking at a weekend or are we looking at a one-day event? 'Cause that's two different things.
Well, exactly, so one day event, if it's, so that's,
Like, I don't think one-day events, they should get 2 days.
no,
like, the day before or the day
Yeah.
after.
no,
Well, that's just it, it's, if they don't pay for it, and there's a rental, they gotta get their stuff out, right? But it's not to be, I think the issue is it's not to be used as, during those time periods, and they still have to be, they still have to coordinate with municipal staff, right? It's not like, if they pay for the extra day's rental, I forget what we were talking about that, if they're paying for the extra day's rental, then they can request access to it. But if they're not paying for it, then they have to work around municipal staff.
but you know, there's an issue because bowling banquet's always Mother's Day weekend, and Mother's Day weekend, they always have a function at the community center. And
Yeah.
it's a one-day event, so,
But it's already there though, the concern's already there, if they were to rent it and take the extra day rental, they could,
Push the other one out.
they can push the other out. They can do that already, they can already do that technically. Yeah, so maybe that's something to look at then, right?
I would say the extra day only if you're renting for the whole weekend. Because
As
that's
a free, as a
Yes,
free.
as a free, as
but-
the extra day, so.
And anybody can rent for extra days.
Cause I'd be afraid that we're gonna get some organizations that will say, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna have my event on Saturday and I want the Sunday. And, like, I'm not saying it would, like, it could happen, because bowling banquet, Mother's Day, that's an important day. Those are two big events,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I know.
maybe, I don't know, what do you think? Or, I'm sorry, I'm not lying here.
I agree, I think that if we're going like a day before, day after, to apply for weekend rentals only, I like that, putting that word in there, and, no, other than that, if it's a one-day rental and you want an extra day, well, pay the setup day charge or whatever it is.
Alright. Okay,
I
so
don't
there,
think 3 days either, I think like day before, day after, that's it, that's all, and I've always been accommodating in the past, and, you know, if there's other ways to get your beer up top, or whatever, during a shindy or something, we'll let their staff, I don't know, but, as far as just, go, I like what that council office said for weekend rentals.
alright, so weekend rentals, they get a setup and a takedown, one-day rentals, if they want more, they pay. Okay. Next, number 2.
Okay, so multi-year fee schedule. So in the fee schedule, we would have preset fees, so for the next 4 years. And we're in a cost recovery kind of pricing structure, which is majority based on wages with our union contracts, which are 4 years. We kind of know what the increases are for the wages. So I'm gonna use the current contract that we were in. It was 3%, 3%, 2%, 2%. So if we were to write in this bylaw, then we would have had automatic built-in 3%, 3%, 2%, 2%. And then every 4 years, when the contract's renegotiated, we would do our next bylaw and do the price increases according to that. So that was one option. The other option was to do a slight increase, a predetermined, whether it's 1%, 2%, whatever, and it not necessarily follow the union negotiation. And then at the end of the year, play catch up, so you're having a slight increase rather than a big jump like what we just did. So that was option 2. And then option 3 is to keep it the same, and until the bylaw is revised whenever, and then we would have that potential large jump because we haven't, done the increases over 4 or 5 years. Cause I know when we did this one, the last time it was reviewed in 2018, we did it in 2023, so it was 5 years, that's why it was such kind of a big jump. So those were the 3 options that were kind of talked about at committee level. There's differing opinions on that. If there's even another solution that council wants to discuss.
I like option A.
Option 1, match wage.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think A would be the best.
okay, Councilor Coté?
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with A. Obviously, this would only, I guess, come into effect probably later on when there's some new contracts.
Okay, Councilor Jones?
I always like A. I think the concern that Councilor Bussey had in doing just to refresh is that the season, the hockey season goes through the fiscal year change in January. You're still playing hockey, so your rate increase would happen through January. But I think we're trying to discuss that we would try to do it in the off season. So like, it will go up, but in the off season kind of thing, like when the arena's not being used, instead of the fiscal
fall
year end.
increase.
Yeah, so that's kind of what our solution was with the committee level.
Okay, so we would be going with A. Everybody agree to have the rate change off-season to the ice?
Yeah, that's fine.
Off-season to the ice?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that's number 2.
Okay,
Number 3.
Number 3 is we currently have a weekly rental in the hall at the arena. When the pricing was done, those kind of rentals weren't really very common. It was never thought that somebody would rent it on a weekly basis. So we're having difficulty staffing because we all know that when the arena is open, we must have a staff present to make sure that people aren't wandering the arena because we can't necessarily close off the danger zones due to the elevator and where it's placed. So there was a couple of discussions about increasing the rate of the hall in the community center, the hourly rate to match the community center. Obviously, well, most likely, people would choose the community center hall over the arena hall if the prices were the same. The reason why they chose the arena hall is because there is such a big difference. So that was one discussion, therefore it would hopefully eliminate any rentals at the arena during off-season. Increase it by a rate of $15, that was just a suggested number, and it was just to kind of reduce the loss. It would still be lower than the community center, so I don't think it would deter somebody from renting it, but it would at least give us $15 more an hour than we were currently losing. Third option, provide seasonal operating rates. So when we do have an arena attendant there, it's not an issue because we're already paying staff there. So during the winter months, you can have it at the lower rate. During the summer months, it goes to the community center rate or whatever council decides. And then maybe they'll shift in the winter and the summer to go to the community center. And then the other option was renting the lobby in the off season. Because one of the reasons why we need the attendant is for the ice pad and mechanical room. If you're just renting the lobby, there's no need for the elevator. Therefore, we could lock those doors so that there's no access to the dangerous part. So we could potentially open it up, allow them their use, just like we would do at the community center. We won't have to have a staff member there.
Okay. What option are you looking at?
So,
Councilor?
I 100% agree with number A, but it's $35 difference, is that what it is?
I believe it's 65 and 30, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I agree with option
Option A?
A. Yeah.
Okay. Councilor Loftus?
Yeah, I like A, but I'm just wondering, could we, cause right now you said they're paying 30,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be 65 at the other one. So can we just maybe increase that rate to like,
15 and then next year another 15.
to like even 40 or 45 and just say you have to use the community center because the arena, if we're paying a guy like our maintenance guy is there for 2 hours. He's outside doing yard work, but he's there, like, so I would, yeah, go with A. give them the same rate and hopefully that we can just lock the arena and have it locked and then we don't have to worry about, yeah, then he can do other things also.
Okay. Councilor Coetzee?
Yeah, I was in favor of, but the increase was to, not every rate, cause it was just to match the $15 difference of the community center. So community center, Monday to Friday, 4 PM to 2 AM is 65, and the Saturday, Sunday is 65, but the regular during the week is 50, so it's $15 difference. So that's what, the $15 increase was, proposed just to the Saturday, Sunday of the arena and the
There is
Monday,
no
Friday.
Sunday right now, though, eh?
Yeah, exactly, so it would be a $15 increase. But, I mean, I don't know, the whole thing of they have to be there to attend it, yeah, but it's known that they're gonna need to be there, right? Like I mean, there's always, to me, there's always a couple hours worth of work that needs to get done, but whether or not that's maybe more of a planning thing, but.
At the arena during off-season, there really isn't much for him to do at the arena.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
Like during this season, yes, he's.
Yeah.
They're there doing the regular job, but in the off-season, it's also not the arena attendant. Because the
Yeah.
arena attendant is a Monday to Thursday job now. So it's not the arena attendant actually supervising that activity on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So you might not necessarily have
Yeah, that could be a
skills
coordinating
or whatever
thing.
to do also.
Yeah. I'm not saying we shouldn't match rates, I mean, then like we're completely eliminating the potential for any rentals there, it's just, I don't know, one of those things. Yeah,
You could potentially offer summer and winter rates, so in the winter,
Yes.
you're offering $30, in the summer it goes to 65.
Unless they use the arena lobby on off-season.
It's the cabin church queue in the arena lobby.
So they could do that, yeah, that's,
the trophy case would have to go or something. The center, there's not enough, I don't think there's enough open kind of space to,
Well, that would be them to decide on that.
yeah.
Give them the option.
Even if we were to increase to 45, they would probably just pay the extra $20 or $40 to go to the community center at that point.
So then.
I'm in favor of B, but just note that it's only to the Monday, Friday, 4 PM to 2 AM and Saturday, Sunday, not the 8 AM to 4 PM. They're like not the regular workday. That way the rates are the same between the arena hall and the community center. The difference, the $15 difference between.
Wouldn't it be
Okay,
just
sorry.
easier just to say same price?
Yeah.
yeah, but if we
No,
have
that's not-
events in
Monday,
the
Friday,
community
Tuesday.
center on the weekend, that would be, you'd have to tell them they can't have it.
Well, that's just it. Now we're forcing more people to go to the community center and potentially losing out on
On a Sunday rental.
weekend rentals or
Yeah,
week.
so,
That's why I'd rather just see them at the.
That's why we're trying to,
I think we need to push towards making the arena hall rentable without having an attendant there. That's 100% where we need to push towards, but it's
Yes,
just.
but that
to get
would
there.
mean a new elevator.
Yeah. Kais is looking for, giving a donation, legacy project. Kais Adios, Arena St. Charles.
The project.
Yeah, they're helping us with other items.
yeah, that's why when we had as a committee meeting, I kind of proposed C, I think C was kind of like, okay, so we can keep it cheap while we can.
Okay.
Keep it cheap for you when we can, keep it cheap during the, when we have staff there, but when we have to provide staff for your event, because it's not, like scheduled or not, when it's, the arena's in its off-season, like, it has to go up, and whether it be the $15 during the off-season, or $20 or whatever, that's where I kinda was on that, cause it's hard, you don't wanna, like Councilor Putzi said, why put a risk of having a Sunday rental now you can be interfering with other weekend events, cause this is every Sunday.
Yeah. So every
So
weekend would not
it's,
be an option.
We have options, again, Catholic school, but there's options, I don't know if you're allowed to have those classrooms with daily rentals now, if you're allowed to have, religious activities take place in there, probably not. We talked about, bringing it to the same price as the community center, but now we're taking away rentals from the arena, which is not really what we wanted, like, not saying we don't wanna do that, but it's good to show that we have it's not a lot of money, but there's a bit of revenue coming in even during the off-season of the arena, so, to me, it was like,
Off-season would be
the
March.
off-season
October.
price would be kind of, if there's not staff
Or
there,
April.
we gotta try to recover the costs of
But
the.
it's still a negative loss though, because the cost of the additional salary is, if you do the net, you're actually costing more for the facility, which is the detriment when you're looking at the entire budget.
Mhm.
But I understand, we have a beautiful facility. I do believe that we have to work on
Lock
the
in some
rent.
doors. Throw some locks on some doors and that's.
Or building,
It is.
there are building a,
Are
there's,
these-
there's options of building a, extending the corridor to in front of the
Remember, we
elevator.
talked about having, again, just past the elevator, having a rolling
Another
screen door that goes, remember, we talked about that a couple of years ago or last year, and, you know, we never got there, so there's a lot of things that we had good intentions for, and this is again, one of those things, if we would've followed through with some stuff, we would be there, so.
Yeah.
It's,
So for the, as it stands, however, for the moment, what do we wanna do? That,
the
I
biggest
agree,
concern
we
is the Sunday.
should be
the
looking
Sunday
at the
rental.
elevator.
The biggest concern is the Sunday rental, are they gonna be willing to, okay, now this Sunday here, we have an event, so you can't do it at the community center, you have to go back there. So now, we're taking our tenants, or say, okay, well, that's our tenants, for the people that are renting for the day or for the week, now they're, okay, well, you can't do it here this Sunday because we have an event, so you gotta, even though they're paying
Good
the
point.
price, like, you can't do that.
Okay.
So,
So looking at.
With that, with this new information, which is actually very important, which option are you looking at now, Counselor Stefano-Weiss? Are you sticking
So
with
is it
your-
April to September that you're looking at off-season prices?
when there's not someone scheduled to work at the arena.
Typically, yeah, cause we close down mid-March and then it takes him a couple weeks, maybe a month to clean up, so.
So 6 months in the year, really?
Yeah.
Okay, but
And
off-season
we start
pricing,
up At the beginning of October, so he's there for a little bit before October to prep the ice and stuff like that, so yeah, you're looking mid-April to mid-September.
okay, so I agree, like seasonal pricing, however, what's the price you want to establish on off-season? Is it the full rate of the the community center, or the $15? Or a different amount?
So if you're looking at increase the rate by 15 to decrease the losses, is 15 for every day, like every Sunday, or are you just looking at 15 for
Off-season.
off-season?
I will refer to Councilor Pottier, because that was his reasoning, and I know he was talking about,
Cause to be honest, it's $30, like, we're not making money anyways, so I think it should be at least brought up higher than 30, no matter what. That's what I think.
But then they might say, okay, I'm gonna rent the municipal center for the next,
Every Sunday for the next 12 months.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then
if
any
booked it
weekend
today,
activity,
they got it.
such as baseball tournaments or whatever.
I know.
Are canceled.
Mother's Day or.
Mother's Day. Yeah.
so we do the it's the same thing, so that when there's events at the arena, because they do book the arena every Sunday, when there's events at the arena, we move them to the community center at the same cost. So there are 3 or 4 times that they've gone to the community center because we have bookings at the arena. We had, a birthday party or a retirement party recently at cause somebody had the community center and somebody rented the, hall. So we had to address that. When the hockey tournament comes, or the family hockey tournament comes, they go there. We had some issues at the arena with water, so they weren't allowed to go in there, so they moved to the community center. So it'd be the same,
So they're flexible.
they're flexible. That if you were to say, okay, we have a rental at the community center, if you do choose to do the community center, that you would have the arena, and you're only losing out having that staff member once or twice a year potentially, but you're still keeping your renter happy. If you choose to go the community center rate, like I think they're flexible on.
They- So that, as
long as
long
you
as
give them
with
enough
the
time.
contract or the agreement with them, that they would be like on the B, on option B, if there's another renter coming in.
It's easier to upsell them to go to the community center when they're in the arena possibly, I don't know if that might be a thing.
Yeah.
Cause it may be downgrading going from, yeah, that might be an issue, but hopefully not, if it goes that route.
Okay, Councilor Dufresne-Weiss, you were speaking last turn.
You wanted more info on B, or is it it $15? What was it?
And the 15 is, yeah, I was just curious.
It was,
15.
it was cause, yeah, it's cause if you look at the
It's 30.
schedule, the community center rate for the second and third row is $15 more than the first row. And that was the concept. It was like, because right now the arena hall is $30 across the board.
And do they get a 10% discount?
15.
Or
We just
15,
passed-
because it's
we
a-
just passed
No.
number
I
one.
No, for them, for
don't
themselves.
remember if they're a qualified organization, I don't believe so yet.
I don't think they,
They have to
Made a
requested
request,
it.
yeah.
But, so then that way, if you go to the arena hall one, it would be 45.
Yeah.
But the weekday would still be 30. Cause I think at the end of the day, it's a planning thing, we need to look at possibly having some sort of task lined up, whether it's painting benches or like, you know, there's, I know there's only so many benches that need to be painted, but, you know what I mean, there's tasks that can be planned around that, to
What-
have, and at the end of the day, that's taking up his time, that's not strictly only going towards.
What we could also do is maybe look at increasing the rate for them $15, okay? Just for them,
Just,
I think yearly,
Offset it, work it out.
and, what I'm thinking is also to save us money, if they just go rent it for that one period of time, keeping in mind that they would always be, if anybody else would rent, they would have to go defer back to the arena. Have them go to the community center, it would actually be more profitable for us.
So it's
Then having something
$45
there.
a rate at the community center.
With the caveat that anybody else renting, go
They
back
would
in the
be-
arena.
Cause we are, like you said.
It's a special contract, I don't know if this is a contract we'd wanna have in our pricing list, but, because it's sort of an agreement, an arrangement we could make with them. Because it's every Sunday, and we're taking hours of man-hours
Yes.
away from other work. And the best option would be, but I wouldn't want them to be paying full freight and then all of a sudden say, no, I'm paying full freight. I've got just as much freight as the other guy. So they'd be paying a little bit more always, and it would help us defer some of the costs.
So if you did the $15 increase by 52 weeks, it's $780 a year increase, so I don't know, that's just numbers, but.
So if I'm understanding, you're asking to enter in a separate agreement, so it wouldn't affect the fee structure, to give them the community center at $45 every week, with a caveat, if by not charging you 65, we're charging you 45, with the caveat if you need to move, that we've given you that discount to kind of like,
Yeah,
Off-season.
I think you're still
off-season.
saying keep it up at the 45?
well,
The arena-
opposite, well, are we
Yeah.
increasing the
Arena.
rate by that $15 or not? That's a,
I think no matter what, we're at a loss, so I think $30 is not much. I think it should be brought up.
Yeah.
Especially if we have to have manpower there.
yeah.
We're not.
Yeah, he's there for 2.5 hours
Yeah.
usually, by the time they enter, the first one enters, he can't leave the office.
Because
Community
it-
garden should be, you can maintain it for 2 hours on.
But I think this, because it's a unique situation and I think it should not be worked into the regular fee schedule to try
Yeah.
and solve this problem. I think we should look at trying to figure an arrangement that's gonna work to our benefit.
But if you're giving them a $65 rental for $45, or monthly payment now is 30, you're not really helping the municipality either.
No.
There's no attendee required though for the hall.
But that's right.
There's no attendee required for the
No,
hall.
the fall,
For the arena.
but still the cleaning, so I have a bigger space, much bigger space to clean.
yes and no, the community center, it is square footage bigger, but with the arena, you have to clean the lobby, you have to clean the stairway, and you have to clean the hall. It's a little more difficult with 3 levels, whereas in community center, it's just straight, he can take his little, scrubber thing, and clean it if it gets that bad, whereas in the arena, kind of 3 different areas.
How many people like attend that, does anybody know?
we, like the attendant would know.
I think your suggestion is the right path forward, enter an agreement at the $45 with the caveat that they have to go to the arena or vice versa, whenever it asks. But I still think we should move forward with doing the 45, 45, and 30, like the three.
Yeah, update, change the rate.
Yeah.
Change the rates, yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify, in the arena hall for fee schedule, you want us from Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, you want it at 30?
Yeah.
Monday to Friday, 4 to 2, you want it at 45, Saturday, Sunday, you want it at 45. And do we want the caveat that this is only for on-season regardless of who it is? Because what if you have another organization that wants to do this?
Like the,
Is it only off season, or is this the rate then?
that's right, yeah.
Okay, and then enter in a separate rental agreement with that one individual group or whatever they want.
Cause I think at the end of the day, we should strive to make this a non-attendance required facility as well. So then with this will be wrong.
Yeah, that, and then, I agree, that's a long-term goal.
I just have a comment, cause I noticed it right below, where was that 315? There was a, I don't know if that was a typo. 315, 316, one right beneath the other. Arena
Yeah,
Hall.
and for the daily,
Yeah, was that,
I don't think it is a typo because the staff that's there all the time.
okay. Yeah, I didn't know if that, I just.
But I can
thought
double
of-
check my original
Yeah.
calculations.
I didn't know if that was, cause of elder difference.
Yeah, I'll check
Yeah.
the original calculations to see what the reasoning behind that, cause I know that they were all kind of.
Reason, but,
Okay.
with.
Just to
So-
clarify, you want the rental to go to the community center for $45?
because it's a contract, almost like it's in a,
We
Yeah.
would be revising the fee schedule, so if anybody else would be, it'd be still 65, but we would enter in a separate agreement, which had nothing to do with fee schedule. Lower the rate, but then allow that discount to kind of move them wherever we need to, so we don't eliminate full day rentals.
I think we can try it.
It would give us slightly more revenue, and it's not gonna be costing us, that one person to have to attend there and not, cause he can't be cleaning when they're in, they have to wait till everybody's gone.
All you do is you only do some maintenance, so you have to do your rental at the arena this Sunday.
Yeah. No, it's sad because he wants to go and do other things.
Are you in agreement with
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
In agreement?
Okay, and then the last thing, it's not on here, but I know, the last one we had made it January 1st, which caused like a lot of issues, cause it was in the mid-season, of it. When we come back with the changes, when did you want it in, to be effective?
and
The beginning of this hockey season or at the end of this hockey season? I know the ball tournament has already signed their agreement for this year, so they're held to these rates.
So can we say September 1st?
You can say it tomorrow if you want.
And then we would just, and I know a lot of the issue last time is we didn't give notice
Yeah.
either, we didn't send out, so if you do say it's going to be as of September 1st, we could let the hockey, minor hockey and family tournament and, who anybody else that has rentals,
Curling.
let them know what the rates are, effective, so
so-
that they had time to plan.
Cause Josh said
September
we could
1st,
even do it
would
now.
that be a
Well,
good time?
They already have their agreement, right?
Yeah,
So
so
for
we
the
could do
family
it now.
baseball tournament, they already have their agreement, so it
The
doesn't matter,
baseball.
doesn't matter what we change.
For them, no.
Well, it doesn't matter for anyone.
No,
Yeah.
the only reason I would suggest waiting is until the next contract. I don't know if that makes a difference, we could set it to 2% now or something, but.
Well, if we already said we're going up with the raises, we don't have to go and revisit this every time. 'Cause
No,
we
no,
follow-
that's, I mean, no, do we wait till the new,
The
We did
contract
agreement
is
comes
being
out.
negotiated right now.
Yeah.
like, this can be, we can deal with this portion in however many months when the contract is up. The new contract is up, that's the only thing I was. and for
Is
the
it gonna
pushes-
happen before hockey season begins?
No.
So it would be this year's contract rate?
Yeah, so we'd always be behind 1 year.
1 year.
Or,
Sort of.
yeah.
Yeah. So what's the date? September, March?
I'm okay to start now, next meeting, or like have a resolution, because like you said, they've already signed and everything for.
For baseball, yeah,
Yeah.
so it would just affect the winter season. essentially.
Exactly, yeah.
Cause if someone books next, say minor, for example, minor hockey knows that the fees are changing, and they go, okay, well, we're booking tomorrow before the fees change for the whole season for all our practice. Yeah, I know what's
Yeah.
extreme there, but.
Yeah, we aren't
Let's-
changing the
let's
prices
do it.
on the ice rental, it's really, it would
It's
only
just a
affect the
2%.
tournament. The
Yeah.
family hockey
Oh,
tournament.
yeah, yeah.
Because we're not, right now, we're not changing the fees, it would be next fall, because we would know what the increase is of this union negotiation, where we would do
Oh, yeah.
2% increase.
Oh, yeah, I thought that's what we were
Across the board.
saying, that we were gonna be doing ASAP, is,
Or at Old Main, you are.
No,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Get it
that's
done.
what I was assuming that they would,
Okay.
that's what I was saying, I think that,
These
that
changes
part we
plus
wait.
a 2% increase.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
thinking,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, that part, wait.
is
till-
there an increase also on the community center?
Everything would
It
go
will
up
be
2%.
The whole,
Yeah,
Okay, so we don't wanna, but there are people that are scheduling their activities for the summer. So
But if it's
we
already
don't mind
booked.
like giving them a hook in the middle of the chest there halfway through their season.
What's that?
But we don't
Yeah.
wanna disturb the hockey people though, they're,
No,
Well, September.
so I think it would be better either March, like before the summer, or
right
In the
before,
fall.
yeah, in fall.
September.
like, I don't like midwinter or midsummer.
September first.
September first.
But, yeah, but fall, we don't know what the new rate is, but we can still go off of an old rate.
Yeah, you could,
So-
whatever the last.
Exactly.
was.
But if we do
Yeah.
the resolution or whatever, September first, whoever is wanting to book September first, it should be that rate. That's what I'm afraid of, right? So
Yeah,
people
it-
here,
On the,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the day
yeah.
of the activity, it's the rate.
it should be.
Unless you just say as of September first, these are the rates, and we know it ahead of time.
Exactly.
So when they come to rent, you can't say your grandfather didn't, so we should still have the fees set for September first, but they take effect September first, as long as
Mhm.
people know that it's gonna be, if you're
You gotta
renting
have
for
it set now
September,
almost.
you have to, so
Pretty
you go,
much.
you gotta set it now, and the fees are gonna be what the fees are, but it has to be set now.
Cutting it close is what, yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the bylaw, it actually says the municipality reserves the right to amend and discontinue with the rental fee reduction at its discretion. So like,
Yeah,
it says that we can adjust at any time.
The reduction?
Municipality reserves the right to amend or discontinue the rental fee reduction. Okay, so.
Only the
just
reduction.
reduction.
I'm saying, so you gotta set it now, and when it comes to September,
Cause some of them are probably starting to plan too.
and that's what I'm saying, like, we're gonna double-edged sword ourselves here by trying to be, okay, we can't be nicer to these ones, that doesn't matter, we gotta set it.
As of-
yeah, and, I think on the day of the event, it's whatever the rate is.
Yeah,
like if
as of-
somebody-
As of September first, no matter what, this is a rate.
Yeah.
We could also, because we know council's direction, when people come in, we can advise them that the rate will change, to avoid,
Yeah.
Yeah, as of, let's say, if you have a hard date, like if
Yeah.
it's saying September first, as of September first, these are the rates, that's all, and.
so, I'll come back at the July meeting with
No
all of
rate
these
check,
yeah.
changes. And then hopefully there's no changes, and then you could pass it in August, which would be effect in September first.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Just a small proposal, would council be opposed to, honoring the day before and day after for the weekend rentals for the St. Charles Parish, for the family tournament? Cause that's something that we
For the-
discussed, right?
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
mean for
access.
this
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, just cause we're talking about passing this possibly beyond when the rental is, so that's just something that's,
Say if you pass it now, you just put in there that fees change in September or whatever the date is. Or
yeah,
whatever,
that,
you
there'd
know.
just be an effective date of the fees, new fees.
So take everything else that we discussed and put it.
So the parish can have Thursday
And
and
Monday.
Monday
Yes.
in their weekend rental, even though it's before September first,
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
Anyone that rents it for the weekend, like, that's what I mean. like,
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
It's almost adopting everything except for the fees, is what we're doing.
Yeah, 'cause they got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so they're gonna get Thursday and
So,
Monday.
any weekend fee, they would be, allowed to have the one day before and after, as of immediately.
Oh, they're meant to be, you never know.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
All right.
Another rental coming up, some,
Early bird.
there's a
bonus.
baseball tournament and stuff or something. Is that for Canada Day, someone wanna do baseball tournament or?
I,
One day thing.
I got confused too because we didn't have any rental tournaments. Somebody from Sudbury posted in the St. Charles for a tournament in Sudbury for Canada Day. Cause I got confused too, cause I'm
Okay.
like, we are not prepared for a tournament.
Okay,
And I went back to looking, it was Sudbury events posted in St. Charles.
okay, I got you. Moncton does that too sometimes.
Okay, so you're good? All right, next item, 8.4, 8.41 and 2, those are minor variances for information. Item number, anybody have questions regarding those? No, okay. 8.43, report to council opportunity to purchase Crown Land, Denis Turcot.
Yes, your worship. So last year, the province established a working group to facilitate municipalities and First Nations, well, mostly municipalities, to purchase Crown land. I'm just looking if council is interested in this. They're doing this for municipalities, is for economic growth and creating lots for housing. So I did a bit of work on this. Before I invest any more time, I just wanna know if council, is this something interested in? Or is it something that we could look at a future date? And again, I did, to get a, to see what it looked like, I did ask for, I just took 2 areas that I figured would sell. And I did ask for some costing on them, and like the, off the Hickman Road and at the end of Marsman Court. So they gave pricing per acres. Obviously on water is more expensive and less expensive. So there's a couple of opportunities here of creating lots and selling and expanding our tax base using existing roads. Like the Hickman Road, that's a perfect example where you're using existing facilities where there would be no building of roads. You just bring in your surveyor and create lots and sell them. Hopefully we can figure out if besides, for the example, the Hickman, is to have a common place where they can put their boat in, so it's not lakefront, but lake access properties. But if I start this, it's a bit like the LUP. They told me that some of them are 2 and 3 years into this. That's what it takes because they have to do all. We're not the first one on the list. We're not the second one. We're not probably the 100th one. We're probably well down there. But if we don't start, the community won't grow. We maintain Hickman Road and Muskie Bay Road. They're plowed seasonally, there's hydro there. This would just slightly increase the traffic on the road, but it would definitely make an impact to our revenue, tax revenues, spreading the burden amongst property owners. That being said, it probably won't be the term of this council, this coming true, but if they do say like 2 years or 3 years from now, it's potential growth, but to get there, we have to start. Whether we start with this property or not, it could be a working, because I have not personally walked these bush, I just drove the road, didn't walk in the bush. And the Marston Court one is on water, but you have to create a road. One novel thing that the lady, which the mayor did attend the webinar with me, with the person in charge, is that some municipalities basically just do the paperwork and get an agreement with a developer. So they say, we'll sign the dotted line, here's the property, you build lots. And we don't build roads, we don't extend power lines, we don't. So what I'm looking for council is council is something interested that we can move forward, do a bit more research and come back with concrete proposals that we can submit to the province? Or does more different avenues to concentrate on. I know we are working towards an LUP on Marson Court. That is posing its own challenges with environmental review. Right now, they just came back with 2 concerns of examples of environmental. They're telling me that Lake Nepawasi has seasonal fluctuations, so if we do put a boat launch, that we may have to not use the boat launch when the lake is at a certain level. I've never seen Lake Nepawasi flood, so I just said not in my virtual ed and said, okay. I could put a restriction if the lake is at whatever level that we won't use it. I've never seen it flood, so. And the other one is that unfortunately, again, if we do push for like a beach area, they bumped up the environmental concerns. So that's another one where maybe we get the park first and then consider the beach. It's not really, when we just want to move forward or move sideways or make a decision. And they're coming out with this. So I know it's a slow burn from Nepawasi, but again, purchasing Crown land could be an avenue to making boat access reality and maybe making lots maybe further away from the waterfront to have more housing. So anyways, for this report is, I'm just seeing if council is interested. Again, this is a slow burn. It would not happen today. But I would just, in the next few months, probably walk, measure, talk to the planner. Talking to the planner would probably be one of the first ones, like what is the size of lots would you recommend? And then we come back with council with a proposal. The only, what council would have to do, probably not even this one, is at one point outlay the cash for a survey, outlay the cash for the purchase, and then choose a person to build it, because we're not in the building. Obviously, you can do a competition, and you build this type of lot, this type of housing. We don't want somebody building a little hunting camp on the back and or a certain standard. So anyways, I'm just looking for direction, and it's an opportunity, but it's one of those yay, but we'll celebrate in a few years.
Yeah. So impact on budget is not, there's no impact on budget
No,
for
not,
this activity for the next couple of years?
there's no
maybe?
cash up front. It's only when you start the purchasing process.
Okay, all right. Councilor Framboise, do we move ahead with
I'd like to see
one?
more, move forward. I think Hickman Road would be, I guess, easier, I guess less issues, but there's nothing closer, eh? Like there's no plan.
So I have about 6 or 7 places I can look. Unfortunately, on the rural roads, on Bopala Road, there's 3 or 4. The access road to everyone uses to go to the back bush there. Well, it's on right on the road, so I can ask for that land, but it's low value land. There's no hydro there. On the highway, there's a few of them, but there's a nice, beautiful swampland. Swampland turns into don't touch. The environment will say no right away. So whenever you see little frogs and turtles, I'm beginning not to, I like them, but I don't like working around them. And as far as off the highway, again, there's a few opportunities going towards
Like Hager, like going towards here, isn't there Crown land just before the bridge? Like, wasn't there a house there before?
yeah, it's all Mark State.
Oh, okay.
on the?
Yeah, oh yeah, I've seen it on my data, I know. And
It's flat and nice and. Okay.
yeah, and I looked at everything, and the only, on water is always nice, at the end of North Shore Road, if we extend to Beaver, there's potential for nice cottage lots there. But those are, we need somebody to work to the cost of the road, because then we would eliminate Beaver Road, but we would open it up.
Yeah.
beautiful lots. Those are not simple, easy projects. Those are, community building projects that, yes, that may be a 10-year objective. If
So
you
these
go-
are these are the two that you selected as the quickest,
Possible.
easiest
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, along Muskie Bay Road leading up to Hickman is all like bedrock and swamp, but there's a few lots in there, but who would buy it when there's no hydro?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a hunting camp, well, okay.
Yeah, I don't, no objection, I'd like to see more
On both?
information. Possibly, like, the first one for sure, the Hickman Road, like, I'm just afraid the other one is gonna cost us a lot of, if it's not costing us anything to move forward and get more information, I don't see why not. I see a lot of,
Yeah,
more
it-
work to be
Yeah,
done
the
around the
road
Neposi.
construction
Yes,
and
yeah,
hydro
road,
addition.
that's a lot.
Councillor Loftus?
Yeah, I also agree, I'd like to see it move forward. Maybe look around a little bit more to see Crown land, because I know that, where there's farmers, there's always Crown land sometimes around them. I don't know how you would get access to that, but, I mean, I like your two sites that you've looked at so far, but I'd like to know if there's any more available. Like maybe you can get somebody to dig a little bit deeper.
Okay. Councillor Plutzi?
Yeah, I like the direction it's going, I think it would need, like, we basically need to contract out a developer or something to develop his land, so this is a little bit of a, well, it is a bigger discussion, and there is more discussions on this to be had. I know that the Hickman Road one, it's on the north side of the road, so unfortunately they wouldn't have lake access technically, so they're close to the lake or not on the lake.
But if, the concept that, he mentioned is that we would assure, a docking area in some way.
Yeah,
That would bring up the value.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
You would need a chunk of crown or something.
yeah, there is, on the Hickman side, there are, island properties that have a dock there. I'm assuming they have a land use permit. I can't kick them out, but there's always ways to talk to people.
And then the Nipawasi one, I think, that one, it would take a longer time, because I think there's also some, there's still the ongoing discussion of the potential, picnic area launch and all that whole discussion there. So that's still, something that's still ongoing, but the discussions can be had, and, if we find potential developers for that, it can get it wouldn't hurt to get this going first, and at least we know what's available, right?
Get which one, Hickman, or
Well, Hickman primarily, yeah. I think,
would be the easiest?
yeah, you might have some questions, concerns, or,
May I, just to add, I wouldn't discount non-waterfront properties.
Yeah.
People are purchasing forested properties and they are building homes so they can get away from larger centers. These are valuable. That's all I'll say, because I see them being developed everywhere.
Okay.
yeah. I know it's kind of a tease sometimes when you're getting a property across from the water, yeah.
It's not what everyone's looking for.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
And then, yeah, the Nipawasi one, it was just, this is a bigger project than obviously, a potential, boat launch or water access area there. But I think that needs to move forward or find a conclusion before we start going on to more and more projects, so.
Okay. Nipawasi, that's a good question, like, because of what we've already got going and started, would this encompass the both of them in some way, or would one start and the other one have to end before?
So no matter what, you have to do consultation. It may, if you opt for one to purchase rather than do a land use permit, it's the same work, it's just a bit more expanded. But the land use permit usually is much quicker to get because it's just a temporary, it's a lease. And as long as you check off the 4 or 5 boxes of making sure that turtles have been checked and there's no wildflower that's rare, usually you get a red weight. This one, for whatever reason, it just takes long, part of the consultation process, because it's a permanent. So they have to look at everything, so they have to go back and look, was this ever a hunting grounds? 500 years ago, was this a religious site, or they would come up and do a traditional hunt? It's not something we think about, but that was the highway of before.
Yeah.
So when we look at this, yeah, it's the road to get there, but that's not the road to get there. It used to be.
Councilor Lachance.
Couple of questions. If we were to purchase the land from the M&R and get the survey done and sever off, are we allowed to then sell at more than cost? So I think regardless of, like, we're talking the road of getting a developer and stuff, I think that flat out the Hickman Road one, plain and simple, we'd be stupid not to buy it and create lots there. You don't have to sell the lots at the market value, you could sell them a little bit cheaper, and you'll still turn a profit at that price no matter what. So I think it'd be stupid not to pursue that. And again, from Nipawasi, I understand at that point there, you could sell the lots without road access for cheap and people can build their own roads there, or you put a road in India and you bring the cost of the lots up. So no matter what you're getting, you don't have to sell it at cost, so there's a return no matter what.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're not selling the lots, you can bring the price down to, $1,000 profit is $1,000, profit.
And the taxes.
The tax base after, exactly, right? So to me, creation of lots and you're making money off the tax base, you're making money off the sale of the property without even having to look at the development side. Because we know how subdivisions have been with us lately.
All right. So everybody therefore seems to be in agreement to move ahead with, and move ahead.
We get a discount on the driveway permit, say if we're putting the driveways in?
I'm not in charge of that one.
It was more of a hint than an ask.
Okay, next item, is item 8.5, the hen bylaw, draft backyard hen bylaw. Take it away, madam.
Thank you. Do I need to be speaking to
Don't,
Oh, okay.
not yet.
Gotcha. Good evening, everyone. Okay, following up on the reports that have come before this, just to bring everyone back up to speed, we've done our public consultation that was presented to council last meeting, I think in May. And to remind council, currently municipal laws only allow the keeping of hens, which are considered livestock in our zoning bylaw, on properties that are zoned rural. Tends to be larger properties outside of villages. This excludes the ability to have hens on properties that are zoned residential rural, waterfront residential, residential 1, or residential 2. Since we did present the results of the public survey and spoke to council and were directed to produce a draft bylaw, this is the draft bylaw that we were able to come up with as staff. We took into account key concerns that were brought up in the public survey, such as waste management, noise, ensuring, this is a key point that came up in another conversation, but ensuring that livestock guardian dogs exceptions do not relate to backyard hens, predator safety, enforcement of animal welfare, and maintaining property standards in residential areas. So taking all of that into account, there's a draft bylaw before you that we are proposing to put out to the public for more comment, more discussion, and also for any questions from council so that we can refine it and improve it. But we do believe that it touches on most of the issues that were brought forward. The bylaw does suggest that hens should be permitted on property zoned residential 1, 2, rural residential, or waterfront residential in the municipal zoning bylaw. To be clear, especially to the public if there's any confusion, this does not affect any properties that are already zoned rural, because you will see that there's numbers to the amount of hens that can be kept on the property. So
We are not affecting rural properties, they are already allowed to have livestock. We've defined hens as not to be considered livestock. In our responsible animal ownership bylaw, there's references to livestock guardian dogs and working dogs, and how people are allowed to have more dogs because of protections of livestock. This is not that consideration. These are backyard hens, almost like a pet, but a way to, bring in some food or have the hen experience, but we're not looking to allow these properties to have more dogs beyond what's already allowed in the responsible animal ownership bylaw. We have proposed numbers of hens based on property size, but also whether they're within town limits or outside of town limits. And we would like council to consider that this bylaw allows virtually every residential property in the municipality to have backyard hens, the way we've written it so far. If we're comfortable with this, I just wanted to make that clear to everyone. If we wanted to make further restrictions, we could restrict on setbacks, so that smaller properties wouldn't be allowed to have backyard hens. Or we could say that properties of a certain size weren't allowed to have backyard hens. But we took the ability to allow everyone at this point, and then to see how the comments come back after council and the public are able to have their say. So we're proposing up to 5 hens on properties within town limits that are not already zoned rural. And you'll note that Schedule B of the draft bylaw proposes what town limits means. So we listed the streets that people would have frontage on that would be considered town limits. We are proposing an allowance of 5 hens on waterfront residential properties. This reflects the public feedback that showed that as much as the public supported the idea of chickens on waterfront residential properties, support wasn't as high. So we didn't take into account the size of the waterfront property. We just said 5 hens on waterfront residential properties. And then on properties that are 5 acres or larger, that are outside of town limits, so those would tend to be your residential rural properties, we're proposing 30 hens. This number comes from some public consultation with community members who had contacted us to say, I have 25 hens, I live on this size property. It seemed like 30 hens was a comfortable number for these sizes of properties that were not considered rural, but were a larger size. And like I said, Schedule B of the bylaw, which I can note the page number for you, is
160.
I think 170. 170 of your agenda is Schedule B, just to show that map of St. Charles, and then the streets that we've recommended to be considered town limits. If there's any feedback on whether these streets should be considered town limits or not, this is the kind of feedback that we're looking for. But also remembering, if it's already zoned rural, if it's a larger property, typically over 15 acres, they're allowed to have as many chickens as they want. So even if they're fronting on one of those streets, this bylaw doesn't limit what they're allowed to have. Roosters, not allowed on these properties. Also, the sale or advertisements of eggs, manure, meat, or any other hen-related products would be prohibited. The ask for this bylaw was really to allow people to provide their own food, for more food safety, for the educational use of hens. So we're not looking to allow a commercial aspect to the allowance of backyard hens. There are standards for coop size and requirements for setbacks, making sure that we're as far as 30 meters away from bodies of water, which makes sense. We're already supposed to be 20 meters away from water with houses, and we're supposed to be in the backyard. Waterfront properties, their backyard is actually facing the road. So we want those hens to be definitely away from waterways. We also mentioned property lines and wells, and we align with minimum distance separations where applicable. So yes, noting that hens are really meant to be kept in backyards. And that's one other key to this bylaw. There's notes on animal welfare and waste disposal. Of course, we want the hens to be treated well, and they have to have space to move. The space to move has to be within required setbacks to keep them away from other properties. We have made a note that even though a coop or a run needs to be 5 meters from a property line on the sides, if there's houses that are particularly close together, we've made an additional distinction that if it can either be 5 meters from a property line or needs to be 10 meters from a house. So if we are within the village area where houses tend to be closer together, one of the main issues that the public brought up in the survey was anytime we suggested houses closer together, should they be allowed to have hens, support dropped. So the idea would be that if you're in a space where houses are closer together, we'll be slightly more restrictive to keep backyard hens away from each other. In some cases, I can't say that we measured every single property within the village. In some cases, that might restrict a particular property from having hens if they're too close to houses. Something to keep in mind. Rental properties or multi-dwelling units, we would have to make sure that if people are having hens or want to have hens, that all tenants and the owners have to agree that they're allowed to be there. We wouldn't be patrolling this, but if we had complaints from a tenant to say that I didn't give my consent to have hens, that would be something that we could then enforce to say, well, if you don't have permission, you're on a multi-dwelling property, you would not be allowed to have them on that property. We've of course included enforcement tools using administrative monetary penalties and provincial offenses, and also put in language that each day that an offense continues may constitute a separate infraction. This means that if something is ongoing, we could potentially charge day by day, and we're adding that language to just about every bylaw that we are reviewing at this time. Staff plans to develop educational materials to be available on the website, to be available when we do have complaints, so that people can learn how to take care of their hens, how to maintain enclosures, and how to manage waste. So those are the highlights of the draft bylaw. Obviously, there's a lot more detail as you go through the bylaw, but at this point I'll open up to questions, and also my recommendation is that council accept the draft and that staff would then put the bylaw on the municipal website, notify the public that we're looking for public feedback, and that we would then collect all public feedback to be reported back to council at a later date, and with any changes that we find useful, and also with staff recommendations on how to move forward with implementing this bylaw, if that's council's wish. So, I'll open it up.
Thank you very much. Okay, hens in your backyard.
I don't have any questions. You did a really good job. I know this was very long.
Team effort.
And yes, a lot of, time spent on this, so I'm okay with it, and I do agree with the
Okay, perfect.
draft.
Councillor Loftus.
Yeah, I accept it, and I'd like to see what the input is of the public. When you get the information, you can report back to us, because I'd be curious to see what they say.
Okay, Councillor Fitzgerald.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing this forward. It's been a little while coming, and it's nice to see it come to fruition. I also would like to see it put on the municipal website and get for us to get feedback on it. I know some portions might be a little bit, we likely will get feedback is on the setbacks, but I know those were set to those to kind of combat the concerns of being too close. I'd almost, an idea is possibly to have a little bit of a leniency if there's a fence. I don't know if that's something that, I know it's worked into different bylaws in other communities, that if there's an existing, like, 6-foot privacy fence or something, that your setback doesn't have to be, say 5 meters, it could be 1.5 or something, or something along those lines, yeah.
The setback was more for noise and smell,
Yeah.
honestly. And fencing will still be, at least some kind of enclosure will have to be put in place so that they're not just always in the coop, they'll have to be able to go outside as well, and so that enclosure, we're suggesting that enclosure also be a part of the setback. So I hear what you're saying about the fencing, but it's not really for the look, in my opinion, it was more for the
Well,
smell.
Yeah, regardless, like a full fence will still prevent, like, most, not most, but some of the noise from getting through, because it's, like, and I don't mean like a little 3-foot tall white picket fence there, it's like
Mhm.
an actual, 6-foot tall privacy fence there would help with that, but I don't know, that's something that they're doing in other communities, it was just a thought of, cause I know 5 meters, for some people, 5 meters from one side, and then 5 meters from the other side, now they get smack dab in the middle of some of the lots that we have in town, yeah. I know some of the lots are,
You wanna
probably
keep it
closer to 6
in the
feet.
middle of your yard.
Yeah, that's it, yeah, so, that was it, but we'll see what, feedback we get, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor Lachance.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they passed this in Marcy Warren last night, eh?
No.
No?
It's still, the draft did go forward
Yeah,
on
okay.
Monday, same stage as, you guys are a few days behind the presentation.
No, I think pretty much covered all the bases here. I liked that was kind of up and down about the waterfront residential, being able to have the backyard hens, but then I thought, like, on a bad day fishing, I still might be able to catch myself a chicken. Thanks for all the work you put in, it's been, a lot up and down, but we're getting there, so.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's good work, and now we're ready for the next phase. Thank you. All right, next item, okay, 12.1, confirmation bylaw, mover and seconder for the first and second reading, Councilor Loftus, Councilor Lachance.
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Lachance. Be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives first and second reading to the following bylaw, bylaw 2025-32, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its committee of the whole meeting held June 4th, 2025, and at its regular meeting of council held June 18th, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried. Mover and seconder for the third and final reading, Councilor Framboise, Councilor Pelletier.
Moved by Councilor LaFramboise and seconded by Councilor Pelletier, be it resolved, the Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby gives third reading to and finally passes bylaw 2025-32.
All those in favor? Carried. Mover and seconder to adjourn, Councilor Loftus, Councilor Pelletier.
Moved by Councilor Loftus and seconded by Councilor Pelletier. Be it resolved that the regular meeting of council of June 18th, 2025 be adjourned 8:12 p.m.
All those in favor? Carried. Meeting is adjourned.